Let's go live. Let's go live. I should say hi to Anna. I think who's my other presenter. So we're live now. So that's what people see. And that's the preview for next thing. Switch between them all by clicking, and then click on the transition. And now that's live when you do that. It does this fade. And if you click transition again, it'll do another sick fade and it'll go back. Go back. Nice. And I think we're away. Grab at least a Coke or something. So we had drinks before again. this is also being streamed to anybody else. So it's recorded, it's on TV.
Yeah, it's a typical Wellington weather. It's like change of the laws and can be colder. That's good ones.
Some of this is really cold.
We all know when it's in summer, it's all rough stuffy. We always have when it's in summer, 99% before I fail. Go back.
She's got the two colours.
It's just different weather, different people. I think the new general
Got my text channels downstairs.
It's very cold here in Russian water. It's bigger minus 30 degrees. Winter, the last 3 months. Yeah. But I even feel it's
I was the one that was walk downstairs and so you sent something to get me here.
So at the moment, Thomas is downstairs.
I'll go and get Thomas and say,
Yeah, it's okay. He's going to be there for other people that show up. I'm going to go down in about 5 minutes. And we'll swap the people. It's okay. It's supposed to be casual. I'm trying to make this as effortless as possible by showing signs up everywhere. AJ, is everything cool?
Can you stand there?
I can definitely stand there.
The lighting was really weird, but I flicked it up and I think having a corner of that trims the camera.
How do I look?
Black and white?
So if I go
That's a
like,
bit washed out, but
that's
you have a-
okay.
you have a-
It's actually fine that that's washed out because you should try to get just the speaker in this. Because if you look at
flipping, yes, the other one.
if you look at this one here, that's what matters. You'll have a live stream with lossless video thing. The person here, I might flip over and go this a little bit, but I'll mostly be live coding over here, and I think it's got the same style of presentation. So it should be
If you stand there, you're pretty centered.
like here,
Fractionally out where you were. Yep.
just here.
Next time, we'll put a circle on the floor. Contain your presenters within
I
that.
have some tape.
No, it'll be fine. That's right.
Okay, cool. Well, hopefully it's all right. Test. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at the stream on the stream. Let's go YouTube. Oh no, January Meetup. There we go. So let's check bees and flowers. Yeah, bees and flowers is there. And the stream should be here. And I should be seeing right now something that looks like a live stream. A little bit of a live stream going on right now. Oh yeah. The volume is up. Da 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 da. Yeah, I'm actually not hearing anything out of there. Is that because I've got the volume down? No, I've got the volume up. I hear. It's coming out of there, that's why. Because I'm connected through AirPlay. Hello, audience. Internal speakers time. I've switched to internal speakers. That should be showing up there. Yes. Okay. Sorry, audience. We're going to be starting in another 15.
options that I can find.
Don't worry about the mute.
I wasn't going to touch anything in case I was probably wrong at this
They can hear the whole thing. That's just fine. How much disk have I got on this bum? So I'm also going to do this.
Yeah, I could just write a report that runs 80,000 queries. I'm totally impressed with.
Sometimes I can't scale. I don't know why. It's live. People are refreshing.
We had one like that. You get the report and run it runs to okay.
So when it starts, hit start recording. Just really you like. How can I de-risk or make you feel better about things? Should I take that down?
Maybe right. I'll trip over it.
Works. Right. I'm going to go downstairs very quickly.
Alright.
Thomas coming up. I'll move my stuff. Remember to do a selfie.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm actually here on college in Wellington. Yeah, so I've been with my girlfriend. Traveling around the last 3 months. To be honest, it's going through say it's still going, unfortunately. Like, there's a tech scene now, and it's like, it's kind of weird because there's so younger people.
That's marketing.
There's a lot of cool, like, immigrants who come from South America. San Francisco's a big hub for that's it. It's really like, a lot, you know, it's like that. I don't think so much. I mean, I think just the politics in San Francisco is extreme as well. So, you know, people know that that's always cool. Feel safe.
Yeah, they love the special chemical products, how to digest that provide
So they come in for that, and then they're just happy. So it's just this kind of like weird mash people, and I would say there's some people. No, it doesn't really feel like that. Yeah. Yeah. So you lived in Yeah, so we had to do my girlfriend's school. She's got some a lot of go with me, so yeah. So yeah, we kind of knew we wanted to move out here just because everything's so expensive and like can't really buy a house there for less than $1,000,000. So it's like if you did that, just have no like money to do that. So we were ready to go. So things can fund it. So oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like California, places, yeah, it's about to get real cheap. Alaska, yeah, I'd love to go there. To buy, to like upgrade the house. I think I've heard about this. Yeah. It's an interesting system. I wonder how that would pay off. Because there must be some stipulation here to upgrade the house. But it's really cool. Is that right? Like you have to like put it, maintain it and like upgrade the house.
Where's this gone? It's gone here. Yeah, it's Google Slides, just vanilla. You won't hear that out of the speakers, but people online will hear you. Hello, online people. They're not seeing this right now, but if you're curious, there'll be like a little window with you on this, and then your slides are being projected onto here. The borders? Oh, yeah, sure. So come on over here, and I'll show you. So that's the borders. So you can probably move around, maybe even there. Yep. And then the other bit. Slides. Excuse me, please. And that goes to about halfway there. I'm getting one person from downstairs, and then would you like to start? Yep. Just grabbing one person from downstairs, and then we'll get started. People on over, sit down. Please grab a pizza and a drink, everyone, and start making your way over here. I've just got to do a bit of telling people where to go when the fire is, yep, sure. And then I think we'll be on. Make the camera go for the full thing. Cool. I'm live. Hello everyone, and welcome to 2020's first Golang Meetup. I'm Matthew, this is Anna, we are your speakers, and I hope that you like what we've presented, what we've got for you today. Just a few housekeeping things before we start. Now we are locked in, we're locked in one way. If you need to get to the bathroom, I've put a key card over by the door that you can just grab on that table, or you can just pinch me and I'll make sure that you're safe. If there is a fire, then we need to make our way down the stairs, not the elevators, and there's some instructions to meet out the front of the building. This space, this glorious space, is provided to us by Leap Dojo, and they do events hosting stuff. So if you have something that your company wants to do here, then they're available for booking. And the pizza, that glorious pizza, has been sponsored this time by Integration QA, and they're just cool people. Sorry, online people. You can come next time. There's space for you, lots of space. Anyway, so what I want to do before we start is I want to take a picture of everyone-ish, because we have like a really default-looking thing. So who wants to be in the selfie? Selfie with everyone? Let's do it. Okay. So at the moment, it's just like the default-looking thing, and it's just like some blue background thing. I just want to swap it out for something more interesting. So in 3, we're going to go, yeah, or make a funny noise. Have I got everyone there? Yeah, it feels like that. Yep. So it's yeah, sweet. All right. In 3, 2, 1. Yeah! Okay. Thanks so much. Well, our first speaker is Anna. And she's kindly jumped in at the last minute. She's part of the DevOps community. Oh, sorry. And this is going to be exciting. I'm just going to pass the microphone and get off the stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anna. Yes, I'm keeping an eye on DevOps community because I'm interested in doing some DevOps stuff, but mostly I'm known in JavaScript community in Wellington and functional programming, as I run 2 meetups, Wellington Functional Programming and Wellington JS. So welcome to both. You can find them on meetup.com. Bees and flowers. So this is a little bit, it's a talk 2.0 because I already gave it, I think maybe 2 years ago at Wellington, or even, earlier, 3-4 years ago, at Wellington.js meetup some time ago. There's a record online, so if you search YouTube, you will find it, and you find that was a little bit more frivolous and sexy talk than this one. Maybe I'm just getting older. This one, the topic is a little bit different. It's about diversity, but I learned new things and I had new experiences since the last talk, so I want to share it today with you. Bees and flowers, you will find out why. And this is my leaf cutter bees I just bought some time ago, and my gladioli. So it's my garden, so you can see that I love gardening. And this is me. I'm a full stack developer, yes, so I love functional programming, but I don't avoid object-oriented when I can, but I do proper object-oriented, not going deep into it. And I graduated from Victoria University with graduate in science diploma with machine learning and AI. At the moment, I'm not working anywhere officially. Hopefully it will change soon. And what else? Wellington JS. Yes, there will be I think on the previous slide again, if you want to look at my posts, I don't have Twitter. You can search me and Google me, because there's only 2 people on this planet named Anna Lezhikova. Second one is my 10-year-old niece. So it's easy to find me. Okay, diversity. What this? I'm a woman, migrant, a family person, a mother, and I started tech career 5 years ago, I think. 6 years ago, something like this. So I made a career shift. Before that, I was everything. And I had a cloth shop. I was running consultancies, worked in a construction company, and almost started my thesis in economic sociology, a lot of stuff. Public relations, journalism, a lot. And I was a professional musician at some time ago. I worked in an orchestra playing violin, yes, in Russia, back in Russia. We moved to New Zealand more than 7 years ago. And here I just started 5 years ago, just graduated from a code school, found a job, enrolled to uni, worked in a bank, and startups and enterprises, a lot of stuff. And I can tell you that I suffer sometimes from these diversity talks. as a lot of people do, because we know this is something that's right. This is something that we should do. But what this is really about? Why we sometimes blamed? Why we sometimes feel guilty? Why we sometimes feel unfairness? And today I want to talk about what diversity really means, and that's how to talk about it without these feelings, but with more productive approach, and really use what it can bring to us. So, phase 1, humans. Let's talk about diversity with in human world, humans. I just mentioned already that gender diversity, like, we need more women in tech. Who haven't heard this phrase? No one, right? So everyone is, we need more women in tech. And then imagine you're a white male working at a tech company, and your manager says, we need more women. And you say, oh my gosh. And they try to hire, we're hiring. And who will be the next person who will join you? Young white male, or young Asian male, or Indian male, but sometimes girls, yes. But you think, does it matter? I don't care. As long as this person is professional, nice person, we don't care. We need the job being done. But we've been told that no, we need to hire someone, and you are responsible for making this woman or girl feeling at home, comfortable. And say, oh my God, what I'm going to do, something like this. But to be honest, this part of diversity that people are blamed for or talking about, especially in offices, especially higher levels, is a very floating thing and can be compared to a poo incident in a swimming pool. Everyone's shouting about it, yep, but it's just one tiny poo in the swimming pool that will be removed, and then the waters will be the same again, and everyone will be playing in the pool. But in reality, diversity is like an iceberg, and we are on Titanic, because we are crashing our ship against it every day, every minute, every conversation. So gender, yes, tip of the iceberg, very popular one. But people are different, diverse, not only by gender. They also are different in their bodies. Big people, small people, tall, eating a lot, not eating, vegans, vegetarians, beer lovers, wine lovers, whiskey lovers, people who are owls or early birds, or very having some skin problems, bald, glasses, whatever. And they're all different. For example, when I worked in the bank, we had a person, quite big one, and he had problems. He walked on some 4th or 5th floor, James, and Papa Bear, him. And he had to go to, sorry, but it's life. He had to go to toilet to the ground floor, because it was the only big toilet enough, the big doors were big enough. The rest was just tiny cubicles I felt uncomfortable in. This is about diversity. People are different. Bodies are different. People are different age, and at different stages in their life, they not just behave different, they react different, they got different values. Your values change during your lifetime. Just everything with values changes. Culture. New Zealand is especially rich in this, the difference among people, because we've got people from all over the world. So how many people in here were born, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, perfect, we can do percentage. How many of you were born in New Zealand? 30%, you can't see the survey line, but I will tell you, 3 people, 30%. How many of you lived in New Zealand, or were not born in New Zealand, but lived most of your life? It's one extra person, so 40%. How many of you lived there more than 10 years? More less than 10 years. Between 10 and 5 years. One person, less than 5 years. The rest of the audience, half. Just imagine. and they're not born in New Zealand, in different countries. Another quick question. Just raise your hand if English is not your native language, not your first language. Half of the people in the room got English as not their first language. That's New Zealand, that the tech, again, this is just different food. Safe and open. Some people, but this person might say something else. Like this. For us, I just Google. I didn't look at fact. Three of the images that's what it's exactly. Found yourself. Got they want to work something. Look for someone else. That's but this is yeah, make them more comfortable. How do you? Sorry. Not yes. Yeah. So not this one. And this is top right the name of Cylon's like Acticaria number. Yeah. So machine learning carefully. UT series is look into the code, not by they're just function to use because one and there was uh, because you can't review questions are just like we honest I'm to it but it's green sorry if so I hope that it's this time's come into my lifetime because sometimes coding is boring to be honest right so I don't want to do boring parts I want to do cool parts and I hope machines will create some space to just push these boring parts to them and to make our job a little bit more creative and not very mechanical at some points because we have to we automate a lot but still we often have to I'm not talking about copy paste I'm talking about doing boring pieces so yeah so that's the problem that's the different facets if you're talking about these of this problem and now you can see it's not only men and women gender or even not even humans it's a lot and let's talk about what we can do and what we can and why when we need it to be diverse and what can be better so why bees and flowers from biology class in school how we call this combination relation. How do we call this relation in biology? It's symbiotic and it's called mutual something. So when one group or organism benefits from activity of another. So flowers are pollinated by bees, and bees gather in the pollen and create honey from it, and feed their babies. But we take it from them. So yes, the same in diversity. Every person who you meet, they're different. It means that if you're doing something together and you've got different qualities, it means that you can achieve something, not just like 1 + 1, like a baby, right? So there's a couple, they've got a baby, it's 3 people now. The same in any activity, it can be 1, 2, 3, 4 people, and then when they're together in a good way, in a synergetic environment, they will create something that's bigger than the sum of the activities, right? So diversity helps to achieve better synergy because you've got more eyes and views and skills and everything, just more. It means that you can find different use cases when you've got requirements, because there are more different people, the more chances you will cover more like user cases before you find out that in the you'd already pushed it to production and find out, oh, we forgot about this, we didn't think about this. The more different people of type of people you got making code review, doing code review, the more chance that they will find different things in it. They will think differently. The more you have type of people and time management, like planning their lives and stuff in the team, the more you'll be able to overcome different phases of the project. When you need some like pushy people, when you need a little bit like non-risky people, and just overcome these different phases of a project, they will be pushing or pulling back. Simple, but how do we do it in reality? Because it's, I think the most, for me as a person, the most difficult thing just to accept that other people are not like me. How they can even accept it, right? It's so difficult. And recently I was reading very interesting books and aspiring, and I want to share just couple of hints that you can use in your everyday life. And one of them is this phrase, I really love it. There's a gap between stimuli and reaction. Whenever you see a new person and it's different, how we differ from animals. That you've got a reaction and stimuli, and you've got reaction. You show to a dog a piece of meat, and the saliva starts running. Or you show even a person show, a knife, and they cut themselves recently, like accidentally. They will feel pain in the hand they cut like 2 years ago, whatever. Yep, something like this. So this is stimuli and reaction. But we humans are different from animals, that we got some part of the brain that we developed not so long ago. Compare, if you look at this from evolutionary timeline, then the front of the front, it's the front lobe, but the front of the front lobe, and then this we can use just to have a tiny, sometimes, or even bigger if you can, gap. And before you react to something, you can think why. What are the stimuli, and why I'm feeling like this, and how can I react to get out of this vicious circle and to change and to use this something stimuli to my benefit, to be effective and efficient and whatever, right? So this is the book that I don't agree with everything in it, but it's very nice. Some stuff is really, really cool, and we're talking about one thing in there. And highly recommend to read it, just to how to approach life and practice this thinking in the gap. And one thing there, like when we in talking to someone who is very different, and everyone tells so many books and posts about that. You need to listen. You need to listen. Yeah, you've heard about it. You need to listen. You need how to listen. And then there's the empathic listening, and that how you just need to listen and then repeat back what you've heard, kind of. But this book describes the thing I felt when we did this exercise at some event, and I felt really awkward, like I was talking to a parrot or some recording device. Why are you repeating, even if it's not word in word, but why would you do this? And just imagine it's not an exercise, it's a real conversation. I would feel annoyed and uncomfortable. But this one is saying that we do, most of the time, we do 4 mistakes. These 4 typical ways of responding while listening, and their mistakes, and the ways to how to improve is just to fix on them, to feel them, to detect them. So during the conversation, if you detect them and change them, you will succeed in listening, in understanding, and in your own relationship, communication, everything. Evaluate. It's when you listen to someone and whatever they're saying, you either agree with them or disagree. You're not listening to them just like a blank page. When they're saying something, you already agree or disagree. Not a good thing. Probe. When you talk back to them and you ask questions, because when we ask questions, we show the person that we are listening. That's nice. But when we ask questions from our own frame, then it's not nice. You're not asking from their frame. You're asking from your own frame. For example, if a person tells you, yeah, it was like, there was a good example in the book about the parent, like he was talking about himself and his teenage boy, talking about the school. Yeah, Dad, I've got how's school? Yeah, Dad, is okay. And then you start, tell me more. Yeah, I've got problems. And then you ask what type of problems you have, but from your point of view, and not listen to them and not ask how them. For example, who problem you had with, instead of how did you feel about this? Because for them it's most important how they felt, not what exactly happened. Because it doesn't matter what happened at the school, it's important how I felt about it. But when you are from your point of view, you ask if you're thinking, will be any trouble? Will I be called to meet the principal? Something like this. So you ask what happened? Something like this. So just ask questions, but listen to the person carefully to ask questions to create psychological air so they can tell more. And advice, then we counsel them based on our experience. But it's the same with technologies and everything that does our experience really help them? Were our problems and things we came across in our life were really the same? How do you know? It's like prescribing something to a person. You're a doctor and prescribing something on the phone only by 1 or 2 things. Not, for example, you say, we've got a fever and she's trembling, something like this. Okay, good, this medicine. And not asking how old is this person we are prescribing to. It's the same, how we can counsel someone from our experience, and very often there's an age or experience, like especially professional experience. It's very matronizing. No. Interpret. I very guilty in this, really. I often, and that's why after this book I'm just trying to change it. Interpret it when we try to figure out this person and explain their motives. Or this person did something I found strange or unacceptable or hurting me, whatever. They did something I'm not approving of. But instead of accusing them, pointing their finger or blaming them, I'm trying to find out why. Trying to find out reason from my point of view. So if it was me, I would have these reasons behind it. Again, it's wrong. Because you never can guess, and it's not right. You just sometimes need to accept that that's how they're behaving. If something affects you, you just need to talk about it from your point of view, but not trying to explain why they are doing this. Especially it's important in couples. So this is about communication. And if you are interested and want to learn more about it, just read it in the book. And there will be slides at the Meetup. page. Yeah, just add the slides, and if you just check the name, and this is a very famous book, very famous. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it, at least heard about it, maybe read it. Another book that I really liked is about time, and the author is Daniel Pink, and you've heard this name because he wrote The Drive. Yeah, have you heard The Drive? Book The Drive? So highly recommend. He's a very good author. Read The Drive, and after that or before that, doesn't matter, read The When. When this book changed my life, honestly. But just read it. One thing in there that it said that there are people who are larks and owls, but most people are in between, but it doesn't matter. It's exactly how they're called, but what matters is different people behave and feel different during the change, like during the day. And when you have a conversation with them, sometimes it's not less important than who they are, their temperament, character, background, whatever. Sometimes if you talk to the same person 2 different times of the day, it will feel like a different person. So when you want to have read this book about the details, and when you're playing a very serious, important conversation, to start with, then take the time into the equation. And then just take the time into equation of everything, scheduling meetings, doing important tasks, doing not important tasks, reflecting how you feel and how to be more productive. Just really check this book out. One more thing. Another thing that just decided not to do slides. Another thing that you can change about time. Engineering time versus manager time. Who has heard about this? Engineering time and manager time. Heard about this? Yep. So engineering time, when you need a slot, at least of 2, 3, 4 hours, because we as developers, engineers, you've got such a thing that's called context. When you open your editor, you open the code you wrote yesterday, it's early in the day, and you have to read it again to get into the context. It takes from 1-2 minutes to half an hour, depending on the complexity of the problem and how it just can vary. And then when you're in the context, because we are problem solvers, we need to stay in the context to solve the problem uninterrupted. Managers, they got a different type of approach to job, because the most of the time what they do gluing and with communications, planning, all the stuff. So their work is very sporadic and like impulses. For us, it's you need a slot and to emerge underwater and do your job and then go out. For them, it just jump out, jump in, jump out, jump in, jump out all the time. That's how they do it. And when these two parties don't understand each other, then you have the problem with the meetings. Who hasn't had the problem with the meeting in the middle of the day? That just ruins everything. And then you got back to your desk and into the context, and then you got another meeting. And after a day or two, you sat at your desk, you tried to work, you were reading, you may be writing something, but how much you have accomplished? 0, right? This is called the engineers versus managers. So time is a very, very important dimension in our life. Another thing, the last one that you can pay attention to for diversity is hiring. If you are in a position that you're hiring someone, sometimes you've got more experienced person versus and very, very like you, and not so less experienced person that's got different life experience, a little bit different. I can tell you a secret that in our profession, you from the technologies, tools, all the stuff, you can learn anything. It's not easy or difficult. You can. It's possible, very possible. People, because you, from your experience, you have to learn something new all the time, because it's changing all the time. So if we are learning all the time, If you don't have experience in some framework or tool, it means nothing when you hire a person, because they just learn it. But other things that you can't learn in a day, month, or year on online tutorial or watching YouTube, other things are more important, because you can't learn them quickly and you can't change them quickly. But when we hire, most of the time, we pay attention only to technical skills, to be honest, right? Or personality, like, not from this point of view, like personality, like fitting, team, like decent person, honest, friendly, smiling, team player, all this stuff. But we don't go deeper into really different things, because it's difficult. For our, not the front brain, our back of the front brain, yeah, and front of the middle brain is very protective. So we don't want people who are not like us, right? We feel uncomfortable. We afraid of people who are not like us, but we need to hire them. That's and when people are hired, then it's, even if you're not in hiring process, you got colleagues who are different, right? So it's in your power, in your hands, to yourself stay in the place if you're different, or for other people to help them stay, to retain these people. Because retaining is another big problem. People get hired and then they leave because they don't feel fit. And retaining is, for example, like on this, we've got on the whiteboard here is a list of things they want to do for meetings and team time, team building time. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's just like we want something. We want more. The questions. What would you like to have more at meetings? What type of drinks and food? And where would you like to go? It's a good start, but it's something that not all people like the same things. And very quick example. Sometimes it's quite difficult to tell it aloud that I don't like this activity. And people will just say, okay, let's go, and they will suffer and they won't enjoy it at all. So whenever you're in the office, even very tiny group, and you want to do something collectively, just create anonymous poll. Very easy. But people will be will find it more easy to say no. Because sometimes it's just people just can't do some stuff and won't enjoy it. I think that's all. Was it more than 30 minutes? Sorry. Yeah, and so you can find me by my name, surname. I run Wellington JavaScript. Please welcome Wellington Functional Programming. Hopefully we'll find more speakers and we'll have an event in some near future. And if you are going to Auckland or will be in Auckland and want to go to Full Stack Day conference in March, I will be giving a talk there about Svelte. I think that's all. Yeah, if you have any questions about diversity or this stuff, or I mentioned something and you want link or more clarification, please message me either on Meetup or Slacks. I'm on Golang Slack now. So you can find me there. You can find my avatar there and message me, or you can find me dev Slack and there something. I don't remember how it's called, but anyway, you can find me. DevOps Slack and Dev New Zealand Slack and JavaScript Slack, and just Google me, you find me. Thank you.
Let's give her a round of applause. That was so cool. Do you want to take any questions? Are there any questions?
No, not later.
Later.
After, because.
Wow, that was really cool. So I've been in two types of teams. I've been in teams where there's been a lot of people that look just like me, and we all talk about the same stuff. And you know what? We're sitting in a meeting and we say things like, "Oh yeah, we'll ship that. There'll be nothing wrong with that," and we ship it. And you know what? There's something that doesn't quite fit. Either it completely explodes in production, or we didn't have a big enough diversity to understand the people that might be using it. Because maybe we're surrounded by so much of of people that look the same and have the same background as us, but we just need to have more people in there. Oh. Yeah. It coming through all right, I think. If I hold it out here, what does the green bar do? Okay. I think it's safe to hear. Cool. Thank you, Anna. I've got a different kind of talk. It's gonna be interesting. So I just wanted to glue together a bunch of stuff and just see if it would work. And I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I needed an excuse for it. Basically, there's this radio station that we listen to in the car all the time called Radio Hauraki, and we love the playlist they have, but then when we leave the area of reception, I can't get that stuff. But Spotify has offline mode, so I just really wanted to glue these things together to see if it would work. Now, what I've done is all of these slides are actual code examples that I'm going to copy paste and try to run. So it might turn into a complete disaster depending on the demo gods, or it might work out just fine. It's also going to be kind of messy. There's no TDD happening here or anything like that. I just want to show you what it took for me to do that, and I want to give a sort of beginner's perspective, because some things jumped out at me as being like, what? Oh, that makes a bit more sense now that I've done this, but I'll never get those insights again because I needed to do it the first time, and so that's what I'm sharing with you today. So I'm just going to jump in then. Radio Hauraki. It was originally something off. This is Auckland. If you don't know what Auckland looks like, it's sort of this shape. They started out by broadcasting from 66 to 70 off the coast, and it was a pirate station. So they weren't supposed to do that. And then it became legal to do private radio, and they're ad supported, like most things. You know, you watch TV, you listen to the radio. They're selling your listenership onto advertisers, and that's how they make the cash monies. But I thought that's a really, really cool piece of history. I thought that it was a bit longer than that, to be honest, but it wasn't. So the fun thing is that this thing where I'm taking the playlist might be kind of like piracy. So I'm pirating a pirate station. So don't actually do this. I might publish the code, but like don't be mean to them. Like don't try it at home. Listen to them if you can, and then maybe use this when you're offline. I've got a couple of ideas of how this could be, like this glued together stuff could work out. But yeah, so Ministry of Sound, just says Ministry, lol. Ministry of Sound, they took Spotify to court over people just making playlists that looked like their albums. So yeah, it might be dodgy, but there's so few of us, and I'm hoping that it's okay. Okay, so goals. What do I want to do? I want to find stuff that's published as published somewhere, and I want to tear the songs out, and I want to give them a little bit of structure. Then I want to sign into Spotify, and then I want to manipulate the stuff. You guys have probably all got a little bit of programming background, so you've probably thought ahead on this, but I like to say it out loud. It gives me a bit of momentum. This is a web page on the internet. It has tabular data. Tabular data is data. I love it. This seems to be updating all the time on iHeartRadio. So let's jump into NetHTTP. Right, I'm going to put this down. I'm going to talk now. AJ, can you tell me if the green is still green? Sweet. Okay, now I'm just going to whip out the console and see if I can do this. I just want to know, am I still presenting to everyone? Look out for my cat. He's cool. He's Watson. Is that still showing up down there too? Sweet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Go path under source, which is where we put all of our Go stuff. I'm going to go into getlab.com because it's the new hotness. I'm going to go to Hey Matthew because that's me on the internet. And then I'm going to rm my Hauraki playlist work. Right, hopefully that goes all right then, because now it's just slides. Making directory, Hauraki playlist. That'll do. CD into there, and I go get in it just in case. Okay, so what have I got now? I have a directory which has just nothing in it. So I'm going to start with Vim, which is a great text editor if you haven't had it. You might get to know me a bit through it. Old habits and all that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name this, and I'm going to keep it outside of my main function. It's a bit different when you're inside of your main function. You can't do the colon equal stuff. You just have to do the equal stuff, and then it can be manipulated and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it's just a way of keeping it there. It's a bit naff, but this is how you might. Copy all the slides. Go away. This is. No, did it again. Okay. Cool. One time. Paste. And close that and save it. Sweet. Now all the formatting's there. Make that a little bit bigger, smaller. Alright. So when I saved it, my editor went, because Vim is amazing, and put in the imports at the top. If the imports don't match the stuff in there or they're unused, Go explodes. There's some really good things out there now for text editors that auto-manage this stuff. So I don't want to jump into that, but I do want to talk about code. It's going to use net HTTP to pull the request down. That is going to give me maybe an error. I'm going to panic with the error and crash if I have to. Close the body later with infer, so that happens at the end of that function. Some of you will know that, but I'm just trying to come at it from a beginner's perspective. Then I just want to read everything that's in the body and print it out to the screen. And if that works, then we're in business. So go run main.go. Please work. Please work. Yes! There we go. Okay, first slide over. Jumping to the next thing. Okay, so we saw tabular data, and the tabular data kind of looks like this. And so on the first part, you've got when it happened. Don't care about that. I care about the third part. So I need a library to tear through web pages. So there's one called XPath v2, which is pretty sweet. I'm going to go and I'm going to put that into my code and not do anything silly in front of everyone, please. Main go. What do I need? I need to put it up here. I need to replace that. I need to put that there. Sweet. So multiple imports, curly brackets. So that's going. I'm grabbing stuff from the XML path on a table and any T body with any TR and any TD in the second one and the third one. So that's artisan track select. Not using them, just put them in there. So that will explode in a second. Let's go run main.go. Doesn't know what to do. So I thought, hey, I might as well try out some of this Go modules stuff, which just came out, and I haven't had a chance to do it. So here's how Go modules works. There's like 8 competing places, standards or something, that up until recently, and this is the one that they brought in and tried to make into a cool thing. So if you want to use Go modules, you need to run go mod init, and then the path to your checkout. So in this case, I've got getlab.com, hey Matthew, hierarchy playlist. So I would write go mod init, and I paste that in. And if I look at my files here, you'll see now that I have a go.mod file, which has just shown up. And that was created, and when that is present, all the Go toolchain goes into this mode which uses Go modules, which is pretty sweet. If I cat that Go mod file, you'll see that it's pretty empty. So let's make it less empty. Let's run that thing again without doing anything. It's going to go, I need to go and pull down the latest versions of things. And then it runs that script. Sweet. If I cat that Go mod file, it now contains information about the dependencies of my project. And they're pinned to those hashes and those tags, which is pretty cool. That's what you want in a versioning thing. Man, it's been a while. Maybe should have done it sooner, but it's me. Yeah, what else did it do? It made a go sum file. So Go sum is a bunch of checksums, and I believe these are also published in a public place, and there are people that are professional gossipers that talk about when somebody feels pushed over the top of their other stuff so that we don't get left padded, I hope. But I'm not that experienced in this. This is new to me, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But yeah, from what I understand, my directory now has a sum file and a mod file and my main.go file, which is what we've been working in. And as I change it, they're going to be updated. So where do these binaries go? They go into the GoPath package directory, and they just look like the thing that gets pulled out. So they've got that big URL right there. They get compiled into binary at the end of that. So jump into the next slide. All right, let's grab those artists. So you saw that it ran, which is cool. Oops, foreground. So I've got here, I've got an XML parsed DOM, and I've got two iterators that I'm making out of those XPath doohickeys. I know that it's a table, so tabular data is going to have rows. So I know that when I run out of tracks, then I can stop. So I've got an infinite loop here, which just says as long as I can grab the next thing, go ahead and print it out. So let's see if we can take that garbage that we saw before, beautiful garbage for somebody who's using web browser, but not for me. And I'm going to replace this stuff over here with exactly that in an auto format. Yes! Okay, let's see if that runs. So it's still grabbing the web page. It's still got this, it's still got a buffer there. It's still going to close it at the end of the function, but this time we're going to parse the page. There we go. Boom. Bruce Springsteen. Right up the top. Muse, sorry. Muse. Going through it. See, these I like these songs. I hope people like these songs too. So there we go. We've got like the first bit. Let's tidy this up. So Golang has structs. For people that aren't familiar with them, structs are not classes, but they're kind of like classes. They're a way of giving you like really cheap way of talking about objects and behavior. So I'm going to make one called song. The song has two strings in it, an artist and a track, and it's got a way of formatting itself. So that should be good. And then the next bit is a playlist, which is a list of songs. So a list of things which have those other things. Yeah. I'm just pasting them straight in. This is going to be hacky as, but it's going to do the trick. And how would we use that? Well, here's something similar to what we had in the main part of the app. It's just running on the DOM and doing all that stuff and scraping it out, appending it to a playlist, and using those objects and then returning it right down here. And so that is a method so that our main thing doesn't feel so cluttered. Okay, and you notice that my editor is shouting at me because I've stopped caring about error cases. But that's not what you would do. That's just what I'm doing for the sake of showing you how these things might work. So I'm going to run this again, and it still works. But I'm not using the new thing.
Can you show the list again?
Sure. There you go. Use.
It's not the swapped, the name of the artist and the song.
So what happened? What happened? Let's have a look.
Sorry.
No, it's fine, it's fine. You have a point there. What have I done? Artist selector, track selector.
No, it might be the formatted string, just remove this one.
There we go. So artist node string tracks. So it's going artist by track, which is wrong.
Just order of the params for the string.
So I wanna just say that I noticed this in another part while I was preparing this, and I changed it here. So what I've done is I made sure it's it's tracking artist. No, it is right. So it would be news would be the artist, track would be the. I think we're okay if what I do is I backspace that stuff and I just use our new method by going play. No, what do we call it? Now playing. Now playing. Okay, so if I go funks, println, bananas, now playing. Okay, let's give that a go. And it should swap them around and maybe be right. Yay! Woohoo! Thanks so much. As I go, if you see errors, feel free to jump in and tell me about it, because this is also a multi-programming exercise. So we're all learning together. And if there's something that I'm doing too fast, slow me down, ask me about it. I'm going to try to be detailed in some ways. I hope it's not boring. Jump into the next bit. All right. Let's run it frequently, every 10 seconds. So this is functional programming. It takes a function, which is named runner, and it just runs it. And it sleeps for 10 seconds, and then it runs it in an infinite loop with a for. This is a function. It takes a function. Do it.
Why 10 seconds?
I don't know.
Average time is more than 10 seconds.
So when I was preparing this, it took me about 10 seconds for some other parts of the presentation, because it starts to ask me if I'm allowed to open up a port every single slide, and then it just gives me a whole pile of grief. So let's go every 10 seconds, and it's going to take a function, so anonymous function, like that. Boom, close my bananas, close my moustaches. Will it run? Will it run forever? It will run until the program panics when the website goes down, because 10 seconds, I don't know, maybe it'll go down, maybe the network will go down. There we go, twice, sweet. Okay, so we got to that bit. And that's the thing that I typed out by hand. Jumping into the next bit, what have we done? We've got songs, we've got extracted meaning from those songs, we've attached some functions to those things that have meaning. Now we're going to jump into Spotify. Google told me that this one was pretty good. It's all right. They're all about as bad as each other. Spotify has a really good API though, so it's always about that beginning bit. Who's used single sign-on here? Hands up. Oh yeah. So that's pain that we're going to have to go through together. I'm sorry. Just cover your eyes or grab a beer if you need the therapy. So the other thing we need to manage is secrets. We all have secrets, and sometimes we should not check them in and push them to the internet. So there's this thing that I've been using called direnv, and it's a little program. And if you've got an envrc and you see the internet, it auto-loads those environment variables into your exports. If you get out of there, it unloads them. It's really cool. It means that I can show you stuff without my work secrets exploding out onto the screen. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. From this page here. So, where are we? So at the moment, we've still got just gomod, gosum, main.go. I'm going to go to this web page here, and if everything is good, then I'm going to log in. And I was already logged in. And I'm going to create a new app. This one I made earlier, but I want you all to see everything. So, what's it going to be called? No, good names. Call out some names. Anything you like. Ralph is cool. There we go. Ralph was a great name that we used for our January Golang Meetup. What are you building? I don't know. Website. There we go. Next. Are you developing a commercial integration? No, this is just, I understand, submit. Legit. Don't abuse this secret while it's up. I'll delete it after the thing. Okay, so you have an ID and a secret, which is kind of the standard, Joe Boggs standard way of doing stuff. So I'm going to go and create an envrc file. I'm going to plop that stuff in there, or without the G. Lol. Sorry about the G. It's G though. There's one hash. There's another hash. It's got some red. I'm going to close this so that I don't get hacked. Don't worry about that. I was just lost. So this red says MVRC is blocked because it could run any malicious stuff. And if I checked it in and it ran off people's machines, so it doesn't check some stuff. It's pretty cool. I'm just going to run that command because YOLO. Boom, exported that stuff. So I'm going to go env, and that just displays all my env things. And I'm going to grep for Spotify. That's just Spotify stuff. So I might have work secrets on this machine, I can't remember, and other secrets, but if I'm in this directory, I've got these exported, and if I'm in another directory, I don't. So if I go up, unloading, reloading, those three things, boom. So now we've got something out in our environment. So we need to be signed in. So one of the things you might have seen me put in secretly was this here, which is the client callback. So the idea is you go, you authenticate, you put in your password, or you're already logged in, and it sends you back with a token, and then your web server goes and says this, and then you signed it. It's pretty cool. Jumping on to the next bit. What will we do for this? Okay, so I've got some basic things here. So we'll start from the top. That is the library that I was talking to you guys about just before, and girls? I'll just say girls from now on. It just sounds more legit. So these two things I want to use. I want to use UUID because we had to have some kind of token in the negotiation and I wasn't that creative. Here's some variables that I want to set up so that I don't do it in the main function. Probably better to do that too, but I just want to prove it out. Auth is the authenticator, which asks for particular permissions, and it gets out of the secrets. It gets the Spotify redirect here. So there goes. String that gets injected in there. The client is just a Spotify client. That's the type. It's not being set to anything. It's a null value. It's null value until it gets set. And state is literally that UUID string. Then if we jump on in, Spotify URL is the one that I have to click in order to be logged in. And that's the reason why it's 10 seconds. Because it takes me about that long to do that cycle. Spotify handler is the thing that we're about to use in our main function in order to spin up a web server. It takes an HTTP responsible writer and a request, which is given to it by the interface that we're going to inject it into, because functional programming rocks. Then here's some stuff which basically says, check the token. This I copy pasted. That LGTM is just a way of us seeing that it's all good, and it writes it out. So yeah, let's see. Let's see it'll work. Import to here. Foreground, no, main. Okay, back in main. I'm going to plop it on down to the bottom. No, I'm not. I'm going to put it up the top because I like to live dangerously. And the formatting seemed to work, so we're good there. And it also moved those exports up there. Okay, so these exports I haven't used yet. So go, run, who knows, will it know, will it know? Didn't say anything. Go mod. Ha! So this is now updated. You can see that the UUID library has been pulled down and added to that Go mod file. And so has a bunch of its dependencies and the Spotify thing. Sweet. It really is like the new hotness. Moving to the next slide. Not creating light. Cool. Alright, so that's great, but we aren't actually using these until we plug them in. There's a bug here. While I copy paste, I'm going to ask if anyone can see it, and then I'll show it to you. It's a sweet bug. It's real sweet. From the main function. There we go. Main func. So I don't need that every 10 seconds. Just need this bit. Copy and not highlight. Any takers? Anyone see the bug? why is it that it doesn't say go to at the top of this or at the bottom of this? Yes. Yes. Excellent. So yeah, what's happening in every 10 seconds is the whole main thread is being passed into that, and it's just sitting there and it's waiting to go. So how would we fix this up? Easy. Just put go in front of it, and then it goes off into its own little world in another thread. We don't have to do into process columns because I didn't want to do them in this talk, maybe another time. But go run. Nice. Allow. So this is the annoying thing. So now I've got a link which looks like a Spotify client, and if I click it, it opens up here and doesn't like what I did. Okay, this is the fun bit. So let's have a look at MDRC. So the error message tells me that it doesn't have the right callback. So let's go back a couple slides, and I'll click back on that thing again, and I'll make sure that it has the right callback on it. So Ralph is cool. No data available. So edit on here. Redirect URIs. Adding localhost. Boom. Hopefully that works. So localhost is being injected into the client auth, and the client auth is going, I understand that, and I'm requesting it, and the remote is going, nah. But now that I've put it into Spotify, Spotify's expecting it, and all the trust. So sorry. Allow. Open. Okay. I can view account data. I agree. Looks good to me. That's cool, and it didn't crash. Sweet. So, let's see how far we can get before the next crash. Jumping. Every 10 seconds. All right, now we're going to do a search. Bye. So, what I want to do is I want to take those Spotify tracks and I want to search for them using the Spotify API so that I can go and add them to a playlist. Yeah, let's do it. So here I've got a little function which I declared, which is the current song, which is just an easy way of getting at the last thing on the playlist, because there was a lot of stuff there and getting a bit lazy. So yeah, P is playlist. We're attaching it to the playlist struct. We're looking into the struct. We're just grabbing the 0th song, the first thing on that list, because it's the last play. And then we're going to use it in our main function up here with the search. So main. There we go. So popping on down. What are we going to do? In here, every 10 seconds, we're going to look up the latest playing track, which might be abusive. Who knows? Let's see. Yeah, let's just see. So search returns something that has tracks inside of it, and that's because of the way that it's doing its wrapping. It just reused the names, which is a bit weird. I can show you why. I use this thing in Vim where I go control and then I use the square brackets and it jumps me to the definition. So tracks is a full track page inside of the search file. And if I look at what that has, if I go back again, I look at what this is. This is the tracks themselves. They're JSON items. And oopsies. If I go back again to where we were, that's just going to print them out so that we can see if it worked or not. Go run main.go. Oh, it doesn't like now playing. Why did I call it now playing? What a terrible name. Did I call it something? Ah, okay. So now playing. I actually want to call it playlist because I think I call it that later. Playlist is going to be first time set to now playing. Playlist is our playlist that we defined earlier on that struct. And it's going to grab the current song, and it's going to turn that into a string, and it's going to shove it into the first argument of client.search. And it's searching for a type of thing. which could be anything, could be an album, an artist, a playlist, but in this case it's a track because we're building up these things. So let's go run it. I'm going to allow that. You're going to get so used to me clicking that button. Oop. 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 Invalid memory address. Cool. Okay, what was that? Okay, going back here. Hit a deadline. No point of dereference. Ah, okay. So who can spot the bug?
Calling now, playing twice.
Sorry?
Calling now, playing twice. Reusing.
Nope. Sorry, can you speak up? This bit here. Next line here. No. I'll tell you what it is. So this client here is not set until we click that URL, but we run it straight away. And so what's happening is we're going client search and it's going kaboom! So we need a way of not doing that. So if clients, let's just say if client is empty, so that's same as saying, what is this? This seems to be Spotify.client. So let's go Spotify lowercase client, empty, then return. In Ruby you would be returning from the main block, but in this case in Go you're returning from that. I think that's going to make it, didn't explode. Looks good to me. Will it run again? Will it run again? Come on, 10 seconds. And there we go. Sweet. So that was waiting a little bit of time to actually run the search, and this is the raw output from JSON converted into a struct that is represented by that Spotify library that we have. Could You Be Loved by Bob Marley. Good song. Very good song. All right. Moving to the next slide bit. All right, so now we want playlists. So here's a way of grabbing playlists. I'm at a time. Oh, 7:20. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I'm grabbing the current user off the client. Then I'm going to grab all the playlists for that user, and I'm going to print out all the playlists. Go run. Allow, click, looks good to me, and there we go. Great Budapest, great movie, good soundtrack, and I name my things after months because I go through playlists like crazy. All right, so that's a lot of output. Jumping into the next bit. Okay. Today I learned this. If you have a structure inside of your struct, then you can't just do this trick here. So this trick here takes the empty struct of your the empty struct and it checks it against the thing that you set in var. But if you have a map or a list, you can't do that. You have to take something in there that is a simple thing and check that instead. So I learned this as I went. So that will explode there using that trick. Spotify simple playlist compared to playlist. Boom. Instead, it's better to do this. If the length of the playlist ID is 0, no, not 0, is 0. I did some other slides. I should get pulled. The other slides are better. Yeah, check some property on it. I learned that. That was cool. So now we want to find our playlist or create it, but I don't know how to create it just yet. Out of time, I'm just going to panic instead of actually doing that. So paste. I've got a new function now called find or create playlist. It does some stuff there. Let's go and make a playlist. I'm just going to get pulled. So these are Webby slides. There we go. It's done. Cool. Did we do that? Today I learned. That's the better slide that tells you about handling stuff. And here's the actually updated thing. So I'm going to make a variable to save the playlist so that we only look it up once. I'm going to iterate through all the playlists or panic. Go run. No. Go run. Allow. Click. Looks good to me. No seg faults, please. No seg faults, please. Playlists. It's not finding one. It should be hitting panic. The reason it isn't is because I think I'm... Oh, don't you hate it? We're not using it. I'm sorry. I'm going to go and say in here, I want to find or create that playlist, and I want to go fint print line that. So we don't need to do that iterating through every playlist anymore. We do need to search, but we don't need to print it out. Go run. Oh, let's print it out. Let's print it out. Go run thing. Go. One more time. Allow. Click. Looks good to me. Close. And should be shorter than 10 seconds. Oh, it exploded. Okay. The reason it exploded is because it wants a playlist called hierarchy. So let's go over here. Let's make a new playlist. Hierarchy. Create. Okay. And it wants that. It's an empty playlist. It wants that because I hard-coded it in here. Name hierarchy. There's other techniques to make these. So now it shouldn't explode. Allow, click, looks good to me. Yes, okay, so it found my playlist. Okay, so I've got all the songs, I've got them in a struct, I've got the playlist. Now we just need to manipulate those things. So this is how I think we would do it. I think we would go add tracks to playlist, and then we should be apples. We should be done, and then you can all think about getting another beer. I should have given you some time to do that, actually. Foreground, dropping down a bit to find and create playlist. That looks like I've got a whole section here where I can just paste it in. Hopefully that works. Okay, so what's going to happen? It's going to do the search, as we did before. It's going to print out the tracks, the first track. It's going to then find or create. It's going to search, and then if there's some problem, it's going to print it out, and it's going to continue its merry way. So go, run, main, go. Also, it's going to explode. I have to do one more thing. Yes! No. That's a different error. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. Index out of range 0 with length 0. Function line 63. Let's go to line 63. 63. Tracks, track 0. Do we need search in that way? We've got it everywhere. Let's get rid of that. Oh, but it does. It does need it. It needs it here, so it would just explode there. So the search must be wrong. And I've had this a couple of times, so I'm going to hack it just for you. Just for you all. Let's not go with the... So every now and then, there is a New Zealand thing, or there is an international thing, and it's just not on Spotify. And so this find or create, and this find track does not work. So what we need to do is we need to choose a different song. So let's have a look at current song, and let's hack it to be number 5, given there's 10 in that list. And I hope this works. Allow, click the button, explode in a predictable way. Looks good to me. 10 seconds should pass. Tom Petty could do the thing. Oh, there we go. That's the error I was expecting. Insufficient client scope. Okay, so Spotify gets quite granular with their scopes. So they said you should understand them, blah, blah, blah. I found this page here when I wanted this playlist modified private, and I found all of these things need to be fed in at the beginning when you set up your client. Let's do some more copy-paste. Into an authenticator. How did I find out about that? I think I was just spelunking the code. There it goes. So you've got auth, Spotify new authenticator. We need more than that. We need all these. Oh, not everything, but all those. Yeah. And I'll get rid of that. Okay. So now it's going to be requesting more things. Go, run, main, go. That does the thing. I go allow. I click the button. I open the page. It says looks good to me. No, it doesn't. It says Ralph is cool. I agree to these new permissions that it's asking me, because I've read all those things. It says looks good to me. Now it should explode with a different thing. Index 0 out of range. So let's try a different current song. Let's go for the third one. It was way better earlier in the day. I think it's just that as the evening goes in, they get more and more interesting DJs going on. Yeah, let's see. I know this guy Charlie. He's so cool. He does. He's into all sorts of funny stuff. Different radio station. Radioactive. Does that work? Oh wait, it's not going to print out anything. Boom! Could you be loved? 8-bit Bob Marley emulator. That's what I love about these guys. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is to deduplicate it. And I'm not going to do it with you, but you're going to have to believe me that, yes, we can hack it together. So what I've done here is I've taken the last track and saved it to, I've saved its ID, and I've just said, look, return from inside my curry function if I've already seen an ID from the last run. So it just runs in a loop. What should I have done? Well, I mean, I needed to know how these things worked first. Like, TDD is a lot when you don't have any idea. So what I would do is I would throw everything away, just like I did at the beginning of this, but I would do it in a quiet, less stressful situation. And I'd try to do it more TDD, and I'd try to break it out. Handle those error cases, which I skipped over a lot. Error cases are like the important bit. That's usually when you don't want to be awake. Break out a few more files, move more behavior into the structures. What else? I've learned that glue code can be really cool if you've got a couple of ideas and you can smoosh them together. It just seems to feel like this happy place in your hacker heart. Believe me, you're gonna love it if you do it. Go modules, they're simple, they're cool. Use them if you can. Even on toy projects, it starts as a toy, turns into production. You know how it goes. Empty struct comparison is weird. That thing that I learned, yeah. Like choose a field, call it an ID, call it whatever. Yeah. Could be better. What would I like to do from here? And it plays. That'd be sweet. Like those play controls are there. All you need is like a threshold on the mic and 2 claps within some distance of each other. Boom. It's piracy because it's their playlist. They own the IP to that. They pay people. What I'd like to do is more like derivative work, maybe statistical analysis of what people are choosing when they're on. That'd be kind of cool because I don't like everything they play during the day, but I know that the mornings and the evenings have some fun stuff. Offline songs for our trip south because we're planning one, me and my wife, and that would be so cool. I skipped a slide about me. I'm Matthew. I run this somehow, but only out of love. I do Ruby by day, and I do Golang by night. I work for a place called Story Park, and I will be for the next month. Then after that, I don't have any plans. I've just said, I don't want to do this particular thing. This is not challenging me in the same way. Lovely group of people. They're so great, but I just need to feel something new. So I've left them alone. So if any one of you wants to work with me, I've got a couple of CVs in my pocket, and I'm ready to be talked to. But if not, that's cool too. Actually, it's more interesting for me to encourage any of you to come forward and give a presentation. At any level, there's got to be someone who needs this advice. Just think of yourself 1 year ago. What advice would you give yourself 1 year ago? There is someone at that level, and they would love to learn from you. And that journey, it's so, so cool. It doesn't matter how prepared you are. Come talk with me after this, and we'll work something out. There's some other stuff as well. There's a GoBridge thing that I'm going to actually give you a second for that after this, because this is a stage. But first, some questions about the talk that just happened. Anyone? Yes?
Ever think about use another language or libraries to make your stuff run instead of Go? For example, streaming can run these or EDA.
So I think that question, because there's remote people, is that have I thought about other ways that I might implement the same problem, maybe with other libraries or other languages? Is that right? I've never done this one before in particular, but the APIs are really open, well documented, and they're kind of nice. The login flow is a bit bad. I'd probably do it in Ruby, but I like it as like a challenge to learning something. If you take a couple of things that are related somehow, where you have to do a lot of integration, you kind of go through this learning cycle that it's like a flywheel, and it's so exciting. So yeah, this might be a good maybe second project in Golang or third project. Would I use other libraries? I might drop down a level and write my own, because tracks 0. That's a bit naff. I want to have something that's a bit more high level. Maybe the structs themselves understand how to go straight to the web and reuse that stuff. Playlist could be a bit more intelligent. Yeah. So I would totally redo this. This is actually just a hack. Other questions? Well, I used to be, and a few people still think I am, a JavaScript guy. This is Reveal.js, and it is an open source project. If you do fork it, you're going to have to deal with the MIT license, and probably if you want to publish it and all that. And it's just a pleasure to use. You end up writing things in Markdown if you want, or all sorts of other stuff. It's got transitions, it's got audio recording things, it's got so many plugins. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and I use it because I wanted to do something simple without thinking about the details too much. And the colors are, it's probably not that obvious, or it might be solarized, because solarized is sweet. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. So we've hit the end of our speakers, but we're all here and we're part of a community, and so we need to be stronger together. Is there anyone who would like to say something to our community, like maybe something about some GoBridge? Go on, come on up. Tell us what GoBridge is.
Right, so I didn't really prepare anything because I just wanted to chat, so yeah. So a couple years ago I started, there was a thing called Women Who Go, which was similar to Rails Girls and like different stuff. So I opened up the New Zealand chapter and kind of kept going with Meetup for a while, and then the group went through some changes, and we realized by trying to feel included, we were excluding people. So we joined GoBridge, part of the whole thing, and we're trying, well, by we, it's me, trying to revive the Meetup here. So I've talked to some people from Auckland, and they were actually having the first GoBridge Meetup this Thursday, which is pretty cool. So I came to talk to Matthew to see if we could do something together here with that. So I guess we'll let you all know once we've chatted. But the cool thing about GoBridge is that it's more focused around workshops, and there's a lot of learning material already pre-made, and we can get a lot of guidance from people who are already running this stuff worldwide. So yeah, I don't know what else to say, but there'll be more information about it. So keep an eye out. The Meetup website is can I like? It's just so people can see it. It's the meetup.com GoBridge. God, I don't even. Anyway, just look it up. GoBridge New Zealand. It's there. Like, I'm just gonna put something else back so it's not. Yeah. Yeah, it's on Meetup page. We'll put it on there. So there, just GoBridge New Zealand. And there's lots of information there. You can look for the GoBridge like official website too, and there's a lot of stuff. So yeah, the idea is to bring just everybody together and learn some stuff and help each other out. And I think it's pretty cool here. Go's not used that much yet, so it's a good way to start off communities from the right foot from the beginning. So that's, I think, is a really good opportunity we have here. So that's it. So yeah.
Cool beans. Sweet. So I guess we should just hang out and talk a bit. But is there anyone else who wants to say something before we turn off the presentation stuff? Nope. Oh, that's no problem. Oh yeah, thanks. Thank you everyone for listening. I know you couldn't hear that, but we appreciate you coming in. Even if it's sometime after this is all going to be recorded. You can get to it from the, there's a DVR thing in the on YouTube. I'm going to, at some stage, try to break them up into individual talks and put them on GoNZ. Yeah, thanks for coming, and I hope to see you all again in another 2 months. Come see me if you want to be a talker, and goodbye. Woo! All right, let's stop there.